Hey YouTube, this is Nia Tate. I'm here to do the review for Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 11, Episode 14, Reunion Part 1. First off, I want to ask you to please like and subscribe. Um, and also, if you see the little hype button, hype me up. So let's get started with the show. The reunion is in Los Angeles, California. So we see everyone arriving at the studio. First off, we see Maurice and Kimmy. And Kimmy walk in. Oh, this is my favorite part of the year. And so Maurice is like, "Why? It's the end because it's the end." She's like, "No, because you get to talk about what everybody said about you off camera." I'm like, "Here she go, here she go." Then we see Marcel and Tisha. We see Nell and uh, Mr. Fletcher, the Fletchers walk in. Nell has her leg or her foot, something she injured, so she's limping. And then we see Trisha and Ken. Trisha is blonde, and it looks good on her. It really looks good on her. It's a lot of hair, but I like the color. And then we see Destiny, and then we have a little farce of a segment with Martell because he's not there. So one of the producers is calling him and asking him, "Where is he?" He's like, "How far are you away?" And he's like, "My suit didn't make it here." So then Carlos gets on the phone with him. He say, "Martell, what's going on?" And he says, Carlos is like, "You flew first class all the way here and you didn't bring your suit with you." And Martell is like, "Yeah, my suit didn't come in from Paris." Like, boy, please. So I'm imagining the show had to get him a suit, which is what he wanted them to do anyway. So that was the gist of that. Martell, you expected the show to buy you a suit. I get it, I guess. He's slick, he's shady as he can be. Anyway, so the show starts, and I would have to say, out of the women, my best dress was definitely Destiny. I don't feel like anybody just totally like shut it down, but I do feel like Destiny's was the best dress. Her hair, her makeup, the dress, I liked it. As far as the men is concerned, is Ken. Ken had that ish on, y'all. Ken was sharp from head to toe. He won. He was better dressed than Carlos. Carlos Carlos looked good. Carlos looked better than he has on other um reunions. But yeah, uh, Mr. Fletcher, he had on a nice suit, but it's a little too much. It was too flashy. It was a little too much going on. But yeah, Ken was well dressed. So we start off with Kimmy and Maurice, and they flash back to the things that they discussed in this season about them not having relations enough. And um, Carlos says he tells Maurice, he said, "Maurice, you have become the most hated husband on the Real Housewives of, I mean, on the on the Love and Marriage Huntsville cast." And Maurice was like, "What?" He said, "Yep, you surpassed Martell and Marceau." So Martell sitting over there grinning. So Carlos said, "People think that you are very condescending to Kimmy, the way you talk to her. And Kimmy, people feel like you because you are older than him, you let a lot of stuff slide and you do a lot of things to keep him because you don't want to be alone." So then Kimmy goes, "Well, I've never been afraid of being alone. If I have to be, I've never been afraid of being alone." And Maurice looking at her like, "Wait, what?" And so Carlos says, "Well, what the issue of deal breaker came up on the last episode. Is cheating a deal breaker for you?" And she started stuttering, y'all. She started stuttering. She's like, t- because y'all know on the show she tried to act like it wasn't. Talking about deal breakers off of deal breakers. She ain't say that today. Why you ain't say that today, Kimmy? You ain't say that. You said, yeah, yeah, yes. And when she said yes, Maurice looked at her, and here come the master manipulator. He's like shocked and appalled. He's like, "Well, it's obvious that I love her more than she loves me because I would try to work it out. We're not talking about her. We talking about you. We're talking about you. And you lying. You and Marcel are so male chauvinistic that there is no way that Kimmy would cheat on you guys and y'all would just be like, oh, okay, let's just go to counseling. Ain't no way. No, you trying to say that because when you cheat or because you have cheated, then you don't want her to be able to say, oh, I'm done. He won't accept the fact that if she say that if you cheat on me, I'm done. He's like, no. So then Carlos, Carlos be working. Carlos gonna ask the Fletchers, you guys have been through, infidelity. What kind of advice, y'all been together for so long, what kind of advice would you give? And Nell said, well, you just never know what you'd be faced with. You never know what decision you would make when you're actually faced with it. If you just because you love the person, it doesn't stop just because they cheat. And then you also, consider other things. There are other things to consider. Yeah, that other things to consider might be when you young and married. But Kimmy, they don't have no kids, no young kids together. If they break up, they just go their separate ways. I mean, what is it? So Maurice liked that answer because this is the thing. Maurice want to do whatever he want to do, and he don't want no repercussions from it at all. And Kimmy doesn't want that, but like just like the people say, you gonna take it because he gonna if he leave you whatever you gotta do to keep him there, that's what you're gonna do. So next up we go to Trisha and Kim. And then we talk about the spin the block. And she tries to give us the same baloney that's not what I meant. I did not sleep with anyone else. We went on a walk date and that was it. So Carl said, well, did you kiss him? No, nothing happened. So he said, okay, kid, I'm gonna ask you, do you believe her? And Kim said, nah, I don't. I was happy he said that. He said, nah, I don't. Because he said, especially, I found out the person that she went on the walk date with was somebody that she had a relationship before even me. So the fact that she went to that person let me, let it feel like she had some, some feelings there or some history there. So no, I don't. But Trisha taking that to the grave, girl. In a way, I'm not even mad at her because men do it. Men lie. Trisha said, you will not get me to admit on TV that I did what I did. Nope, nope, we're not gonna do it. So then he asked Ken, uh, why did he separate? Why did he leave and get an apartment? And he said because they were arguing all the time and he felt that um a lot of the times she was frustrated with her ex in the divorce proceedings and she was taking that out on him. And it was becoming an issue between those two in front of the kids. So that's why he left and got an apartment. So Carlos said, so did you entertain women at that apartment? Did you have women over there? And Martel over there shaking his head trying to tell him say no. Say no. So Ken was like, no. But they seem to be they back together. He's like, we passed it. Ken not holding no grudges. He like, look, we passed it. I did what I did. She did what she did. We were on a break. We passed it. We happy now. Let's move on. So next up, they talk about Trisha, hmm, Letitia, Tisha and Destiny. The whole situation with them. Here we go. So of course, uh, they have the flashbacks to everything that happened, and here go Kimmy. Oh, that's a whole movie. So Destiny said that she's already apologized numerous times. She don't know what else to do. Um, Letitia said she feel like, well, I feel like uh Martell is friends with you and you're friends with me. And I feel like when Martell be, making his snide comments, you laughing and giggling and um and instead of, trying to tell him he's wrong. I'm like, this sound like deja vu. Now you mad because Marcel was your friend. Martell was your friend. Martell was your friend. Martell is her friend. I'm sorry. Martell is her friend. And you get upset over the things that he say. How would you imagine like Mel, Martell was her whole husband, and y'all took his side and still refused to try to see it from her way, and still Kimmy, I'll never forget when Kimmy said that, oh, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. Now you can't stand him all of a sudden. But when it was Mel, you couldn't see that. So it just boggles the mind for me. So like Destiny said, listen, I told him he was wrong. I can't control a grown man. So she's still on that hill about the same thing about I need somebody to be there that's supportive of me. So then here come Carlos. Carlos said, when Destiny was off the show, you called me and you said, listen, I'm not gonna tell you Destiny's business. He was talking to Letitia. He said, you said, I'm not gonna tell you Destiny's business, but I really hope that she could get back on the show. And so Letitia said, Carlos, I'm going harder for her, than I'm going for my own mother. So it does seem like Letitia did try to intervene. And Carlos said he told her, never say never. She didn't get fired. She left the show on her own accord. So it seems like Tisha did stick her neck out to try to help Destiny. And Destiny's like, I do care about Tisha, but I just I just don't know what she want me to do, you know. So then here comes Letitia. Well, you have to be careful of things you say when you're angry. And Destiny said, you call me a whole HOE. You call me a hoe. um, that you can't trust or something like that. And so uh Carlos said, you did call her that. And she said, and Tisha gonna say, well, and I was right. So Carlos said, so you think she and she's like, well, no, I don't think she's but I don't think I can trust her. So it's like, girl, Destiny, just go on about your business. Just go on about your business. So then we start with the whole situation. Carlos asked uh Kimmy. He said, "Well, Kimmy, you and Latricia are sisters-in-laws, but there was a point in time when you two didn't get along, and so can you see how Destiny feels about not quite understanding how she stands with Kimmy?" And with Letitia, and Kimmy's gonna say, well, I think the difference is you guys, and she was saying it to Nell too. She's like, you guys will say some really shady and mean spirited stuff. Kimmy, did you not say if you and Letitia was not sister-in-laws, y'all wouldn't even be friends? Ain't that kind of mean and shady? That's what came out of your mouth. You said you wouldn't even be friends with that lady if she wasn't your sister-in-law. You said that. I figured out what's going on with Kimmy and why, because I really used to like Kimmy on the show, but this is what's going on with Kimmy. Kimmy is giving the same condescending attitude to everybody else that Maurice gives to her. If you look at it, you could see the way she treats everybody else is the way that he treats her. Like I'm so much smarter than you. I know so much more than you. I'm so better at controlling my anger and my emotions than you all. So then Nell, they brought Nell into the conversation, and Nell said, well, I feel like everything started between Tisha and Destiny because Destiny inserted herself. Destiny said, no, I was pulled into a situation between Nell and Trisha and Kimmy. And it started at uh Trisha's birthday party. And so Kimmy and Trisha, because they done Kimmy and Letitia done practice the whole MO. Well, there was no problem with us. I was no problem between us. Even Trisha said there was an issue. And uh Nell said the issue is you are not my mama. You try to talk to people and tell us, what to do. And then here go Kimmy. I never said I was your I know I'm not your mama. And look, B, such and such and such. Here come all the aggression, all the anger. Where's that for your husband, girl? Where's that? Where's that? You sit there like you on mute when Maurice talking to you like you're stupid, but here you go puffing up against Nell, but Nell wasn't backing down. So they go back and forth, and then the show ends. So I guess next week we're gonna get the end of it. Honestly, if I know they have to film together, but if I was Destiny, I wouldn't even have nothing for them Scott women because they both crazy. Them men got them plumb cuckoo because they manipulating them to try to act like they not doing what they doing. Um, and we don't believe it. We not buying it. So they really trying to sell it. So that was it for the reunion, the first part one. I would give it about a C. It was okay. It was nothing earth shattering. It was the same old back and forth that I don't even think is gonna get resolved. So part two is next week, and we'll see what what the rest pops off. It seems like the men are going to have a conversation. Also, Letitia and Marceau is going to talk about their issues again. So that's it. Let me know what you thought about the show in the comments. I so much appreciate you guys taking time out your day to listen to my review, and have a great rest of your day. I'm out.